Okay, Blue Jays, let's play ball. Okay, Blue Jays, let's play ball. Hey there, Heather, ho there, Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to yet another Cutter video. As you can see here, tilt myself down, I think. Yep, there we go. As you can see, I'm sporting the Blue Jays pullover throwback that I bought in 2009. I still have it, and I'm still a passionate Blue Jays supporter. And the reason why I'm doing this video is because when I was on Facebook, I was talking about me trying to do the top 10 Kitchener Ranger games of all time that I have attended. Well, in the midst of it, I completely goofed. I forgot to do a top 10 Blue Jays games that I've gone to. I think I have done that on my channel, but I have to update it because there were two games in 2023 and they both made the list. So I've been to plenty of Blue Jay games. I went once every year from 1993 to 2006 as part of my Uncle John's, you know, that's my dad's sister's husband, getting tickets from RBC, no, BMO, Bank of Montreal, and then using them for Blue Jay games and all that. Of course, the Diamond family, my dad's family with Ever Christine and myself, my uncle's family, Uncle Glenn's family with, and Uncle Glenn being dad's brother, and their four kids, Heather, Tim, Keith, and Randy, and then the Five Pawns, the four kids of my Aunt Carol, Allison, Gregory, Jennifer, and Melanie. So the majority of us would be going to the Blue Jay game and actually being quite happy and all of that. So anyway, the fact of the matter is, I always loved going to the Blue Jay games as a kid and all that. So anyway, I went to one game each year for that period, 93 to 2006. That was 14. And then what happened in 2007 was I went to two games, opening the Blue Jays home opener and the Oakville game. So that was 16. And then I didn't go to any Blue Jay games. I had a couple opportunities. One was in 2020 when COVID ruined my chances to see a Blue Jay game in June. And also the fact that I went to two games in 2023. So that's 18 games. So I went to 18 Blue Jay games, and I'm doing a top 10 of Blue Jay games I went to. So here we go. Hmm. So number 10 on the list, do the fingers, is the 1999 game, Blue Jays Braves, July 18th, 1999. It was an amazing time. The Blue Jays were playing the Braves. It was interleague. The Jays beat the Braves 3-2 in a very tight game, one of the tightest games I've seen. But of course, it's also memorable for two other reasons. One was my cousin Tim was donning his Chipper Jones jersey and all that. He would always don that jersey, even going to see the Blue Jays and all that, even when the Braves weren't in town. And number two was the big event that day in 1999 was not the Blue Jays beating the Braves. It was the Yankees Expos game at Yankee Stadium in which David Cone threw his perfect game. That was the same day as David Cone's perfect game as when I saw the Blue Jays Braves and the Blue Jays won. Of course, how was I supposed to know the Braves were going to be the National League representative in the 1999 World Series against the Yankees? So I got to see a future NL champion. Not the first time and not the last time. Actually, no, it was the first time. It was my first interleague game. Number 9 on the list. Oops, I'm doing the numbers wrong. Sorry. Right hand first. Yeah. No. Well, I had it right. No, well. Jeff, do you? Ah, no. Yeah, I'm right. Okay, so number 9 on the list is the home opener from 2007 when I turned 22 years old, April 9th, 2007. It was a calm day and all that. And my brother wanted to know what I wanted for my birthday. And I said, well, I could always go see the Blue Jays home opener because it landed on my birthday, my 22nd birthday, April 9th, 2007. And he said, done. So he got 3 tickets to the home opener. He took my dad, myself, and him to see the Blue Jays game April 9th, 2007, against the Kansas City Royals with a young Alex Gordon playing, and I think it was his first road game. But anyway, the Royals were decent. The Blue Jays took care of the Royals quite easily. I think it was 8-1 or something like that. But the highlight of the game was actually in the 7th inning when the Sky Dome camera was panning, and then all of a sudden this guy pops up in a New York Islanders jersey, and fans were booing the shit out of him. Reason being is because of the fact that the Islanders, the day before, on April 8th, played the New Jersey Devils in a game. If the Islanders won by any method, even in the shootout, the Leafs would lose the 8th spot, and it would be the Islanders versus Buffalo. So New Jersey rested Brodeur and went with Clemenson in net. Kind of figured that was a fix. The Islanders beat the Devils in a shootout and sunk the Leafs' chances to make the playoffs. Of course, it would be 6 more years before the Leafs made the playoffs. Number 8 on the list is my last Blue Jays game I went to in July 2023 against the Anaheim Angels. I still call them the Anaheim Angels. I don't call them the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim because that's 2 different suburbs. So I say the Anaheim Angels. So it's my final game. It was late July 2023, and the church was organizing a Blue Jays game for the men's breakfast, the men's ministry, and all that, which I belong to. And, the men's ministry was organizing the Blue Jays against the Texas Rangers. And of course, that game was big. It was going to be June 6, 2020. The Blue Jays were going to face the Rangers. And unfortunately, COVID struck, and of course, everything went canceled. I got my money back. But yeah, so I went to Benton Street Baptist Church, and the men's thing, and there were a good amount of men, and they were allowed to bring their wives and their kids and all that. There were some kids, not a whole lot, but yeah. The fact of the matter is that the Blue Jays and the Rangers were playing. No, Blue Jays and Angels were playing, and I wanted to see Ohtani-san because that's when Shohei Ohtani was coming to be for the Blue Jays to face the Blue Jays. But it wasn't Ohtani that stole the show. The Jays came back and beat the Angels, but then, a scary incident as I can't remember who the Angel was. I thought it was Anthony Rendon, but I don't think it was Rendon. Or was it who got smacked in the face with an Alek Manoah fastball, and the crowd just went silent in the Rogers Center. It was like shocking to see all that. And unfortunately, that actually kind of started a downward spiral for Manoah. Yes, Alek Manoah has Tommy John surgery and will be trying to come back for the 2025 season. But the fact is that, I felt like that mistake and then him having to come out of the game because he was in shock may have contributed to his terrible play near the end of 2023. But yeah, that was a great time to see the Blue Jays, and hopefully that won't be the last time I get to see a Blue Jay game. Number 7 is a laugher for the Blue Jays. July 2003, Blue Jays versus Rays. The Jays may have won 10-1, but was it the Rays? Oh, sorry, it was the Orioles. So the 10-1 win was against the Orioles when Baltimore decided to use, who is that guy? Ricardo Lopez. I think that was his name. Yeah, to be the starting pitcher and all that. Unfortunately for him, he sucked and all that. But the fact of the matter was that the Blue Jays were good. Doc Halladay pitched a complete game 6-hitter, and the Blue Jays won the game. And little did we know that Doc Halladay would win the 2003 Cy Young. So this was part of his 20-win season. I saw him win the Cy Young. Number 6 is the following year, 2004, when I got to see Carlos Delgado's 1,000th RBI. It was the Blue Jays versus Rays in 2004. And unfortunately, traffic was so bad that, the Diamond crew was late to the game. We got there in the bottom of the first, and then just as we were there, Carlos Delgado knocked in a 3-run home run. And little did we know that that was the 1,000th RBI in Carlos Delgado's career. It's a milestone. A lot of people don't realize how big 1,000 RBIs in the majors is. But yeah, Delgado hit the 1,000 RBI mark, and I got to watch it live. So good times ahead. Okay, so oh yeah, number 5 on the list is a game in 2002 saw the Blue Jays take on the Red Sox. It was July 2002, and a lot of opposing fans were there because it was a Boston Red Sox game. Boston fans were crowning the Skydome. So anyway, it was Boston Toronto, and Toronto was a decent team in 2002, but they had one player that shocked a lot of people by winning the AL Rookie of the Year. His name, Eric Hinske, who came over from Oakland in a trade that the Jays had to give up Billy Koch, our closer. So anyway, Hinske was playing pretty well. And then all of a sudden, he decides to hit a game-winning home run in the bottom of the ninth. But anyway, the Jays were up 5-3 in the eighth. I remember turning to my brother and saying, well, the Blue Jays scored an insurance run. We should win. But then, lo and behold, a 2-run home run. I can't remember who it was. I'm thinking Orlando Cabrera, but I'm not right. But anyway, a 2-run home run in the top of the ninth, and the Red Sox tied it. And then former Expos closer Urgef Urbina was on the mound. Hinske led off and then hit one to right field. Gone, and a walk-off. I got to see a walk-off. Not for the first time, and yes, probably for the last time. But the fact of the matter is that, yeah, I got to see the Hinske. Number 4 on the list is the Cito Gaston game from 2006. And somewhere in my paraphernalia, I have the Cito Gaston ticket stub. Anyway, it's 2006. The Blue Jays were taking on the White Sox. I would have loved to see Ken Hawk Harrelson because I consider him one of my heroes for sports broadcasting. But the fact of the matter was that, the Blue Jays were playing the White Sox, and it was Cito Gaston bobblehead day at the Dome. So people got to get the Cito Gaston bobblehead. Of course, we arrived too late to get the bobblehead. So practically, that was it. So regardless of that, in the third inning, the Jays were clinging on to a losing thing against the White Sox when my Uncle John came up to me and said, hey, Cito Gaston's signing autographs and all that. You should go see it. And then I'm like, sure. So I had my ticket stub. It was the big ticket stub and all that. And Cito was signing the bobbleheads. And I was the only one that came to him. And as a cat is meowing her displeasure, the fact of the matter is that, Cito was signing stuff. And then I had my big ticket stub. And I told Cito, thanks for your service for the Blue Jays in the 90s because I grew up watching those Blue Jays. And of course, I got his autograph. So that's one of my most prized possessions in history. Number 3 is the big game against the Arizona Diamondbacks. I know that it seems apropos because it's the Diamondbacks. And yes, the Diamondbacks did go to the World Series in 2023. So I got to see a World Series finalist, an eventual finalist at that. But this game in 2023 was one of the most memorable games in history because that marked the first time I got to see a Blue Jays game in 16 years. And the first time ever that I got to see a Blue Jays game minus my dad. So there's a massive background story. So anyway, yeah, I hadn't gone to a Blue Jays game since 2007 because my Uncle John did not have the Blue Jay tickets for the rest of for years. So basically, yeah. And unfortunately, in 2020, my dad just happened to die on Leap Day, aka February 29th. Sorry for that. Anyway, yeah, February 29th, 2020, my dad died. So we have to celebrate his death on March the 1st because, he was alive February 28th. The essence of live TV. But the simple fact is that the Blue Jays were playing the Diamondbacks. Well, anyway, my dad always was at every Blue Jay game I went. There was my dad, and I was going to go to my first Blue Jay game without my dad, and it was shocking. Fortunately, though, I got to see game. One of my former managers at Canadian Tire was moving to Fergus, but then she got Blue Jay tickets, so well, 2 tickets. So it was me and my warehouse manager at the time. Well, at the time, my warehouse manager, Aaron Demarin, and we got to go see the Blue Jays versus the Diamondbacks and all that. Yeah, it was. I remember the sign I posted. It was my first Blue Jays game in 16 years and all that, and the first one about my dad and all that. I didn't get on the jumbotron with that sign, but that's okay. So yeah, it was a classic game. The Blue Jays did beat the Diamondbacks. Yeah, it was a return to greatness. It was the first time in 16 years I got to go see a game live. So I'm happy about that. Number 2 on the list is July 18th, 1993, my first Blue Jays game. As the old saying says, you never forget your first. And I didn't forget my first Blue Jays game. You probably thought that was going to be number 1, a little biased, but no, there was one game that beat them all. But it was my first Blue Jays game in July 1993. It was the Royals and the Blue Jays. The Royals were doing okay. The Blue Jays were chasing for first place in the AL East, and this was before Rickey Henderson joined the team because he joined the team July 31st. So Devo, as in Devon White, needed a day off, so he took the day off. So this guy by the name of Willie Canate, Canate, he decides to be the starting pitcher. Starting center fielder, and he did okay and all that. And then, the game was moving on. It was a 3-3 tie in the ninth. Kansas City did not remove their pitcher, Pichardo. And then Canady led off the ninth, hit a home run to left field, and the Blue Jays won the game. It was one of the most amazing games I ever saw live. Of course, the Blue Jays and all the would win the World Series. So I got to see the eventual World Series champion Blue Jays play one day. I was happy. Also to note, that was the only time in the major leagues that Willie Canady hit a home run. Check out his stats. He only hit 1 home run in the major leagues, and I got to see that. That very obscure. And number 1 by a long shot, July 19th, 1998. Blue Jays, Yankees. Of course, baseball fans will know about when I say 1998 and Yankees in the same sentence, they know what they're talking about. But for the less inhibited, here's what I would say. So 1998, the Blue Jays were doing decent. They were third in the division. The Yankees and Red Sox were proudly flaunting it. And the Blue Jays would face the Yankees. Andy Pettitte, who got robbed of the Cy Young in 1996, and I'm saying it even though that Pat Hankin of the Blue Jays won it. Pettitte did get robbed of the Cy Young. He was starting. The Blue Jays had a very good team and all that. They had Shawn Green, Carlos Delgado. I would say Joe Carter, but I don't think so. But yeah, and this flashy outfielder by the name of Jose Canseco. Yes, the Blue Jays, in his one and only season as a Blue Jay, Canseco was on the team. And it was a memorable game for all the right reasons. The Blue Jays beat the Yankees 9-3, but what was more memorable was Carlos Delgado hitting a ball deep to right field, deep and high. And guess where it landed? In the 5th deck, the upper deck in Rogers Center, one of only like 13 balls ever hit that far. And I got to see it live. Canseco walled the pair of home runs. I kept thinking Shawn Green was the guy who hit in the 500 level, but no, it was Delgado. So, yeah, the Blue Jays won that game 9-3. But little did we know that the 1998 Yankees would win the World Series. Well, I think some people would know that. And they did so heavily. They called themselves, baseball people call them the best team to ever win the World Series because the 1998 Yankees won the World Series. They won 114 games, which actually set the American League record for wins in a season. Well, of course, the Major League record still is 116, held by the 1906 Cubs and then the 2001 Mariners. But yeah, the Yankees with 114 wins and winning the World Series. Those Cubs and Mariners teams did not win the World Series. But what is also big is because the Blue Jays won that game and took 2 out of 3 against the Yankees in that series. The Blue Jays, had the Yankees had swept, the Yankees would have put up 116 wins. So the Blue Jays that day prevented the Yankees from chasing the 1906 Cubs and all that. So yeah, It was a memorable game and a memorable time to be a Blue Jay fan. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.